We're gathered among us thought leaders, academics, entrepreneurs, executives, MBAs like us, and a few undergraduates. But we're united by our common hope for Africa.
This year's theme captures the rise of a new type of growth, one that is not driven solely by resource extraction and is sustainable in the long run.
Realizing the opportunities for growth, however, will require innovation, entrepreneurship, and the ability of business leaders to scale their companies in industries that range from agriculture to manufacturing to consumer services to finance. That is a central challenge for the world.
And in 2004, when I decided to return to Ethiopia, the process started in 2003, was right in the middle of an economic crisis. I actually went back because there was a crisis and because I felt that that crisis was something I could do something about.
There's someone now in Harare, or even a small village in Zimbabwe or Ghana or Uganda or Kenya or Somaliland, my home country, can now receive their money on a mobile phone 24/7. And they don't have to travel to a big city to collect small amounts of money.
So fast forward many years, I dedicated my life to service and entrepreneurship. I helped start home healthcare agencies that scaled in Illinois and Indiana.
The thing about bridges, if you think about it, is most good bridges, traffic flows both ways. It's not just about us taking what we have here at Stanford and bringing it to West Africa and East Africa, but it is also about the traffic coming here, having the energy and the opportunity and also the challenges of business in Africa penetrate Stanford so that we can understand it better and so that we can build stronger ties.
The third and most important thing is banks have information. We've had customers for years. It's just that we weren't smart enough to realize that the information we had was intelligent and we could use it as data, but it is all there. And when all these things start to come together, you will see that banks will survive. Having said that, it's not the birthright of banks to survive.
Simple answer is that you need to deal with partnerships.
From that, they could distribute that information to other people in the village or other teachers in the village.
With the nature of our work, we always get a little bit of a window into the excitement and also the actual tangible stuff that's going on the African continent. But it's fantastic to come to the Bay Area, which is actually so far geographically from the continent, and see that energy is it's here and it's alive, and actually people are doing things. Some of the individuals we had on the panels with us it's amazing. Everyone had their little stories or their individual stories, from education to healthcare to finance, and it really feels that if there's a way in which we can connect all the dots between different parts of the US, different parts of Europe, and the continent itself, there's a huge amount of potential that's waiting to be unleashed.
I was invited to speak on a panel on finance, and I was excited to see what was happening in the Valley on Africa. You don't get to hear that much about what's happening with tech companies out here.
I think it's a great opportunity to meet people who have worked in the continent, and I think it's an event that brings together people who share the same passion to solve different problems in Africa. And I, as a student, I think it's a great chance to hear first-hand experiences with people who have worked in industries that faces these challenges and the methods through which they have gone through to solve them and what challenges still exist. For example, the second keynote speaker moved me a lot from his story because he faced so many challenges in achieving what he wanted to achieve, but then he still strongly believed in this idea that he can make it happen.
What I thought was really impressive was the mix of people that the organizers brought together. So a lot of folks from different parts of industry, from different parts of the economy, a nice combination of students and investors and practitioners.
In my mind, it's the most exciting opportunity for investors over the next 20 years. The fundamentals of Africa are exciting. It's going to have the largest labor force in the world in the next 15 years.
I think the future in Africa is bright. I think there are a lot of significant challenges that need to be overcome. Myself, I work more on the policy side, and what we're working on is trying to create better enabling environments for businesses to thrive. And my hope over the next 10, 20 years would be to see an Africa that has much reduced barriers to internal trade between the African countries, that has a robust investment into infrastructure, critical infrastructure of the sort that enables industry and business to thrive.
I think the overall trend to me is just to see how much excitement there is in terms of starting businesses in Africa and all the growth that we are going to experience over the next few years.
The thing I loved about this event is the energy of the students and the people who come here from all over the globe. I always learn a lot, and meeting the people from Nigeria and Ghana and Pakistan and many other countries has really been inspirational.
There's something about the nature of the people here, or the atmosphere here, where that it feels very collaborative, it feels very warm and engaging.
It exceeded my expectations. It's an interesting time to be interested in Africa, and I think the Valley brings a different perspective on the opportunities on the continent. And quite frankly, I think the other thing that was exciting is there's so many Africans that are over here looking to move back and do new and interesting things.
I mean, this is my third year attending the event, so I think being a senior next year, I'll definitely finish it off with my fourth attendance. And yeah, I think it was very valuable for me, and I'll be here next year.